Now we'll see if Kanavi can do what Tarzan could not. We're into our first champ select. It's T1 on the blue side, top on the red. Yone and Yunara banned out by T1 as Faker Azir will not be allowed to enter the rift from top.
I am curious if they want to let that Orianna through, though, because what we saw from Top Esports against G2 was a willingness to give across the Orianna and open up Cream to play things like the Akali, the things he made his name on back when he started in OMG. But we'll have to see what that game plan is going to be, because when we look at the Anyone's Legend series, it was constantly taking Orianna and Azir away from T1.
The Poppy increases the value of things like Ambessa, Wukong, Rakan, and that Akali pick that Dagda was talking about. T1, how will they shift their focus? Because with the Yone ban and the Yunara, Sion comes to attention and immediately it's going to be banned away by T1. So that first pick now looking to be the Wukong. T1 want to get their hands on it, a very powerful engaged tool. But the question is, will Top Esports allow them to have it? Rumble may very well be the ban on the side of Top Esports if something like the Ambessa is something that they're eyeing up.
Yeah, I think it's very telling, essentially, what this last ban is going to be. So the Bard from Keria taken away once more. This was another staple ban we saw from Anyone's Legend. But it does say, hey, go on, take that Orianna. We're going to try and take the Akali here for Cream and answer with our own style in Top Esports.
And you can see their 100% presence in draft throughout this tournament. A powerful pick for Top Esports to let through, but at bare minimum, they're going to buy themselves control over that Wukong here with it.
Absolutely. Wukong plus Akali could be an incredibly viable combination, and it's going to be locked in immediately. We've seen this once before, and they're going to secure it for themselves. Owner will respond with the Xin of his own, a big comfort pick for him, and another comfort for T1 as the Varus is secured for Gumayusi.
This has been such an insane pick for Gumayusi in this tournament. He has consistently got big leads in the lane on this champion and been a menace when it comes towards team fights.
I have to imagine that the Ambessa will now be higher in priority. Top Esports going for a lot of dive threat, but maybe they want some poke of their own. They would be a little bit AP heavy, but still, with the assassination with the backline threat of Akali plus Ziggs, instead they move towards the Sivir. Still, a very effective engage combo, good wave clear, a little short range, which means that poke Varus in the late game, can they get on top of him will be the question for Top Esports.
I think it was a good read, Vedi. Like, they probably want to try and go for the Ambessa, but I imagine it is going to be banned away here on these next couple of rotations by T1. And if you end up going towards that Ziggs, so much AP damage, you can find yourself lacking in opportunities in that top side of the map. So the Renekton ban?
It's an Ambessa.
It's an Ambessa angle, yeah.
Yeah, I imagine that T1 will read the play and they'll look to remove it themselves. Now, champions like Alistair, Top Esports need to be very aware of it. It could be a great engage tool, a potential follow-up on the side of T1, good frontline, and also just a great answer into the Sivir as well. Will Top Esports consider it ban-worthy, or do instead they have something in the top lane they want to get rid of?
My other thought is also something like a Braum ban, because 369 would love to go towards something like an Ornn. It sets up beautifully for the Wukong, the Akali. You've got two very mobile carries on the opposite side, and I think that may be something that they want to look for, but I am curious if T1 are going to read it, take the Braum for carrying that bottom side, and then enable Doran on his own sort of engaged champion.
Okay, we do have that Alistar banned away. The Nico going to be the ban instead. Earlier on in the day, Azael talking about the creativity of Keria's Nico against Anyone's Legend, but they don't want to allow that to go over to Hong instead.
I feel Rakan might have a lot of value as a potential in the event of a Braum on the other side. It seems, though, that 369 wants to play more on the defensive route. They want to give Hong full counter pick, full flexibility, and what he's playing into Keria. We know that Keria is just a master of these range supports, and the possibility of Varus Karma, Varus Renata, Varus in any combination of range support could be a very deadly lane to deal with.
It does mean that they have to rely on Doran to be that engaged tool. So I guess we'll see if Ornn is going to be taken here in that top side just to provide that tool. Mordekaiser are actually going to be taken into the Kasante here and make sure. And there's that Rakan you were talking about. So T1 heavily reliant on Keria on this Rakan to be that main engaged tool now.
Problem is, how do you then deal with the Rakan yourself? Because by removing away the Alistair, is Leona or Rel potentially just the safest thing you could go for? Have a little bit more engaged to facilitate and work with the Wukong. Right now, they're considering the Nautilus having that single target lockdown to put more threat on the backline of Orianna and Varus.
Yeah, I do like the Nautilus in this sort of situation. Okay, they're going to swap to the Karma. Instead, I wasn't sure if they wanted to go for an Enchanter in either the Lulu or the Karma to try and get that wave push, counteract what has been that speciality of Gumayusi on this Varus. And it looks like that's the call. Just go for lane dominance in this bottom side. Make sure Jackie Love and Hung can fight toe-to-toe against the T1 bot lane and try and snowball into effective dragon control and objective team fights.
Yeah, between the On the Hunt for Jackie Love, the Mantra E there for Hong, there's a lot of AoE speed up available on the side of Top Esports, but the only real true engage is still going to be Kanavi on the Wukong.
And this is why I think the Mordekaiser pick is so valuable, because we've seen before, I forget which game it was, the Wukong engages, Mord ults the Wukong, and now that engage disappears. And so Top Esports, they're going to have to be very careful with how they approach these fights, because I don't think they're going to have as easy a backline threat, given that they are so reliant on Kanavi to be that engaged.
I mean, it's a similar story for the Akali, right? Akali jumps in, Mord ults her. You're not killing the Mordekaiser in the Death Realm. So I think you've got multiple strong targets here for Doran. Nice pick on the Mordekaiser. We'll have to see now how much value you can get. Or are you going to be able to just play through this pushing bot lane into early dragons, into objective control, and try and set up for a strong Top Esports early game?
Top Esports coming out with the Orianna being given over on first pick. I feel like if you lose this first game, there's going to be a lot of criticism towards that choice, not only with the popularity of the champion so far at the tournament, but with Faker's legacy on it here too. But we'll see if Top's plan works out as we're on to the Rift here for game number 1 in this semifinal best of 5 to see who gets to punch their ticket to Chengdu. Runes up on your screen right now. Immediately I'm noticing it's Summoner Spellbook for Karia's Rakan. However, the Comet over on the side of Top Esports for Hong shows me they really want to play for that lane control.
Absolutely. Top Esports is very much playing for that bot lane control that Dagda was talking about in draft, wanting to leverage their push to maybe get early rotations to set up for the grubs, or maybe even set their sights on that early dragon in the early game. But before we even dive even deeper into that, I want to look back a little bit at last year, because these two teams are no strangers to one another, and we've got a little bit more time to talk about it, because last year it was a one-sided affair. T1 made fun of Top. As we jump back onto the Rift, there's a cool little tidbit for us on the caster desk, because Clayton, so many years ago, you had the iconic call of Faker's Shockwave finding them all, and now we have Orianna and Rakan in the hands of T1, potentially giving you another opportunity.
Look, if I have the time, I'll make sure I credit Rakan as well, right next to the Orianna. But if they engage in a split second, I might have to pick and choose yet again. We'll see if T1 can find that team fight magic here in the semifinals in 2025. On our screens right now, this bottom lane, we've already talked about it, but again, I feel like control, priority of this lane for Top Esports is so huge.
And I think that's why you're seeing Kanavi starting this top side of the map, right? He knows that he's going to be able to shift his way down towards his bottom side with the push on bot lane, should be able to get crab for himself. And one of the things that is kind of the shaping a lot of the full clears that we're seeing from the junglers is the fact that if you double full clear, you basically set up your camp, so then you spawn that dragon in 5 minutes after you finished all your camps, and you can waddle in for an extra little bit of experience there. So I think that's where Top Esports are going to be trying to put that focus again, and already you can see Gumayusi taking a lot of hurt from Top Esports on the bottom side.
Bot lane 2 versus 2 working very much as the way Top Esports had intended. We know, though, that in terms of mid and top, T1 should have priority in those lanes. Both junglers pathing towards that bot side of the map. Keeping my eyes on Kanavi, as he is actually moving into the river. Is he looking for an early gank towards the middle lane? No, it looks like his eyes are set on stealing away those Raptors, but now he will be a camp behind. Oner securing that advantage. Kanavi wants to play through the pressure of his bot lane, though, to steal away camps in the enemy jungle.
Exactly. He wants to utilize this advantage in the 2v2 to really make Oner sweat a little bit here on that first clear. It's not just the double first clear approach, as Kanavi, Jackie, and Hong are moving all the way towards that red buff. They want to try to steal it away, but the steal does not work. It's Oner with the secure over the wall.
Crazy smite from Oner, and the ward never got cleared. I was actually keeping my eyes on Faker for a lot of that, because I thought maybe he would even try and roam over, but Oner just does it himself.
Beautiful steal comes through from Oner, as he's able to secure, well, pretty much all of his camps. He's very happy with how things have played out. He's now going to path back up towards the top side of the map to secure that Scuttle Crab. and his clear is largely unaffected. And now the consequences of this for Kanavi is that he is very far behind on the clear. A nice recall is going to come through soon from Owner. He's going to get a nice first base off as the bot lane forced to use the heal as the bot laners continue to battle it out.
Exactly. T1 just going to defensively activate that summoner spell to back away as Top Esports wanted to continue going aggressive with it. Now a nice grand entrance from Keria to keep the pressure on Jackie Love. Hong steps forward. More damage into Keria here as both sides take a little bit of a beating, but it's Hong, the lowest HP overall. Very fortunate to sidestep that piercing arrow with 3 blight stacks. That one would have taken him down to probably below 100 HP.
Yeah, it just feels like the first round in this bottom lane, though. Both AD carries running that teleport, so should be able to reset and TP back in. Guma going to look to stop Jackie Love there. Having that level up as well means he can put a little bit more pressure down, but still, TP's back in. It should all go back to even Steven in this bottom lane.
So Kanavi did skip his Wolves in order to get back and start re-clearing those respawn camps. He's now going to be a little bit behind as Doran getting a little low.
Yeah, Doran in some danger here. Pops the shield. 369, keeping the pressure on this Mordekaiser. Wanted to go back in for some footwork with a third in Tofo strike, but the knockback not colliding with Doran means he's safe for now.
The early base from 369, securing that double null magic mantle, giving him the additional magic resistance to win out on these trades. Doran should be perfectly fine in this situation. He just has to be cautious at the threat of a dive. But Mordekaiser, not the easiest champ in the world to dive. No level 6 yet for 369.
Kanavi was spotted, though, on the ward, and everyone's moving back up towards his top side.
All right, they're moving around trying to see if maybe they can set it up, but they have to know if 369 was close to level 6, so was Doran, and trying to dive Mordekaiser underneath the turret with the ulti is never going to work.
Now, T1 are punishing the early pathing from Kanavi. Remember that because he had to skip his bot side camps to try and steal, he's now late to these Raptors. Keria is here with Ona, and Kanavi has no idea.
Yeah, Keria jumps forward, however, the grand entrance does not hit Kanavi. Owner still continuing to try to contest here for this Raptor camp, does secure the large Raptor, but now over the wall, it's Cream ready to go in. He wants the kill, and Owner's the focus. Cream goes forward, but he cannot find enough damage just yet. It's Kanavi grabbing first blood here for Top Esports.
Massive plays from Top Esports. The double flash over Faker's shockwave means they find none of them, and it's Top Esports that are able to get a kill on the back end.
And this is so important for Kanavi because the jungle advantage was very quickly getting out of control. Owner was contesting these camps. He was leveraging the tempo advantage that he had, but finding that kill put a stop to that. The Raptors are stolen away, and Kanavi can now pick up the Scuttle Crab as well. Nice advantage gained for Top Esports.
Yeah, and as you were saying, Betty, like, they spotted Kanavi on that top ward, and then, so this would have been the play from T1, but the double flash over Faker means that Owner is completely caught out. Cream having that level 6, able to follow him over the wall, and it's T1 that, in theory, played smarter on the map, but it's TES who are outplaying them in the moment.
Exactly. Kanavi on his initial invade trying to steal away the red. He doesn't get the payoff that he wants. And like you pointed out, Betty, then it feels like he's behind in the pace of the game. But then the invade from T1 to try to punish that lack of pace ultimately ends up being the greater error, as it's Top Esports first on the board here with that first kill. And Kanavi has the gold lead in the jungle since he was the one who got the kill credit for it.
Now, track these lane assignments. Already, Top Esports looking to move their pieces around the board. Cream has been sent to the bot side of the map with that Hextech alternator. It looks like he's going to be matching up against Doran. Not a very favorable matchup for the Akali, but this early on, she does still have some great trading potential. The main goal, though, for Top Esports is to move their Sivir into the mid lane. Help you guarantee that lane prio to make it easier to contest the grubs that are spawning in 20 seconds. But with the swap up to top, T1 will still have access to this objective.
I did think the Top Esports would try and play more for Dragons, though. I feel like their team fight is better set up around, hey, let's try and stack some of these early objectives, and then being able to draw T1 in towards these fights and maybe look for some of these cross maps. But with the early lead that they managed to pick up on towards Cream and Kanavi, and that level 6 just being hit for Kanavi, maybe they feel like they can actually fight as Cream starts to move.
Yeah, Cream going to make that early rotation up towards these Void Grubs. And because Doran's teleport timer is pretty desynced from 369, there's still half the cooldown remaining on that teleport. The Mordekaiser is steadfastly down there in the bottom lane, and Top Esports have already taken the first grub.
But now, Top Esports, they can have 369 TP to bottom lane if they want. He's going to go back to base. They did sacrifice a wave, and Doran will secure a plate. But ultimately now, Jackie Love and Hung can go and match up against the bot lane 2 versus 2. Akali can return to mid, and just a beautiful sequence of play there from Top Esports to allow them to secure an uncontested grubs.
This is where exactly you kind of want to be as Top Esports. Again, although the early game went a little awry, being able to now find these moments to get Void Groves when, in theory, Cream should have more impact on the side lane is going to be really, really nice. You can continue to keep up pressure through 369 as well in the Mordekaiser matchup. And Jackie Love is just going to wave clear. So I think now on T1 side, my eyes are going to be on Owner to see how he can get involved in some of these lanes to start to get some advantages for their side laners to neutralize the potential 1-3-1 from Top Esports.
I'd love to see Top Esports invest a little bit of time towards that mid lane as well. Faker going for the Rod of Ages build means that he's looking to stack those defensive items to help survive the Akali burst. As Owner sets his sights on the bot side of the map, I'd be surprised if they really try to force anything. It looks like, yeah, he's more interested in the enemy jungle camps. He wants to take things away from Kanavi. He should be able to secure this Gromp and walk away scot-free.
We mentioned earlier how Mordekaiser is a difficult champion to dive there in the top lane. K'Sante is in the same caliber. You've got to have the guarantee that you're going to get the kill because of how easy it is to turn around. So they'll happily just take away the Gromp, get a little bit of extra money. It's another reset to pick up the Caulfield's Warhammer there for Owner. As you can see, he is still slightly ahead in terms of pace, at least with the jungle treats there, just 1 or 2 stacks ahead of Kanavi on the Wukong, who still does maintain about the same gold lead that he did after we saw him secure the first blood earlier.
So just a fun fact about this mid lane matchup, Faker maxing the Q over the W. Sometimes we see that shift between Orianas, but given how low he is on mana, having that extra Q damage really helps facilitate him put that poke down onto the Akali in those shorter trades. He is very low on mana though. This could be a window for Top Esports to try and force that dragon, but with the resets coming out from Kanavi, I don't expect that to actually come through. Components very close to completing that first item, and as I say that, Jackie Love will complete the Essence Reaver, TP back into mids, and now Top Esports will have control over the midway.
Yeah, I think they would have loved to have the Wukong finish off his Triforce here, but still a little bit away. And that it looks like what Top Esports are trying to play for is that big spike that you can get off of some of these first item completions. And for T1, it's a case, okay, we're still waiting on that Rod of Ages for Faker. We still don't have that first item for Gumayushi. But Top Esports still in the area, just trying to clear out vision and use these pushing waves to establish themselves further in River so they can set up for that play in a couple of minutes.
Okay, 369 on the K'Sante does have the Spectre's Cowl alongside the Negatron Cloak, so plenty of magic resistance building towards that first big item still, considering both enemy solo laners are AP champions. That always feels very good when you go for an early Kaenic Rookern to be able to endure so much of that hurt, be able to have much better, shorter trades. As Top Esports continue just aggroing the dragon, you saw them initially do that just to have it hit Carrier a little bit, but now that even he's not here, they're continuing to try to look for the chance to take this. It's really not an early first Drake though, Vedius, which is, again, kind of what we were looking at when we see the Sivir Karma.
The reset just came through for Faker though, and he doesn't finish the Rod of Ages. He actually ends up buying a tier instead of trying to finish it off. So I think for T1, they're not really interested in going for this dragon right now. They're more than happy to let it scale. And I think with that crab take, Kanavi should have just ticked over towards his Triforce. So unless T1 can find a pick before this dragon happens, it looks like Top Esports should be able to come back into the map and try and force the play there.
I don't know when the latest first Dragon of Worlds was, but we're definitely heading towards that number. Top Esports in a bit of an odd position here as they kind of fight with Faker for that mid control. Varus has to be careful, but he's pretty safe to push out that bot wave. Now it is T1's turn to take control over the bot side river. Fantastic vision control means they will be the team to start this objective off, and Top Esports don't really have much room to fight this as of right now.
Yeah, you can see piercing arrow, plenty of damage from that Varus here onto the neutral objective. It is secured by Owner and T1 as Hong wants to step forward. Carry with a battle dance to disengage from the tether means that Top can't get any sort of a punish, and T1 just kind of walk away with a Drake for free.
A nice timing window there by T1. So they knew that Kanavi had reset for the for his Triforce, but Kanavi stopping off for his Wolves on the way forward meant that they actually had a little bit more time to try and push through. So they move in towards mid, force Jackie Love to give up priority on that mid wave. They already had Jackie Love pushing in bot wave, so able to use that small window where Top Esports weren't on the map to their advantage.
Very much feels like that we're heading in the direction of a slower teamfight orientated game. And I think that based on how both teams kind of find that success, when I especially look back at that AL series, a lot of the conversation was about how AL need to pick up the pace of the game, because if you just let T1 run the map, that's where they seem to feel like the most comfortable. But Top Esports, they are the slower, more controlled LPL style of team. They like to play the map, and that's just kind of a given when you've got Kanavi as a jungler. That very methodical type of approach to the game, very much playing towards his strengths, and he's scaling up nicely on the Wukong now with the Trinity Force completed. He's looking to hover around top. He's cautious of that Rakan roam, and he will secure the Krugs as well. So overall, right now, 14 minutes in, nothing too major. Nobody with a... Oh, hang on.
Yep, as soon as you say it, Vedius, it's Cream going in after Faker. Perfect execution coming through. Faker low. Cream bursts him down to 20%, but he cannot threaten a lethal situation. Still 45 seconds left until the Rift Herald spawns. Means Faker is going to have time to go back to the fountain, heal up, make a purchase, and then return to the topside river if T1 wants to fight.
The Top Esports really wanted to try and force the play, but with carrying that top side, the exhaust went down onto Kanavi to prevent him from going in, and also then having the charm to prevent anyone from following up meant that Top Esports knew it had kind of fallen apart, and they all back away.
You also see the value of Rod of Ages into this matchup as well. That extra HP really making the difference, but Cream simply giving us a taster of what Faker can expect in the side lane, and why it's very important for Carrier to be in the area when that Orianna is playing into the Akali specifically. Hung working with Jackie Love as the heal. Oh, that's a chunk of damage.
Yeah, there you go. There's the summoner spell forced out. Gumayushi using the chains of corruption, making Hong flash away or face certain doom.
And right as Rift Herald spawns as well, so Owner immediately books it over towards the objective to start that one up. And look at the map. Top Esports not in a position to contest here again.
I feel like this is a pretty rare situation where we've seen all three of the first neutral objectives in the game go utterly uncontested. The Void Grubs earned by Top Esports because of their smart macro play, then T1 getting the Drake for free off the recall from Kanavi, and now Gumayushi's Chain of Corruption forcing Hong back and forcing that flash to be spent means that T1 gets Rift Herald for free. We're just seeing all of these objectives be handed over.
I think T1, just with really good lane assignments, they know that Faker, as long as Cream doesn't have his ultimate, can easily gain control over that wave. Also, the fact that they got that nice trade and Hung, as Dagda was saying, that is the go signal. That is your window of opportunity to force the objective. So just great overall awareness from T1 as they gain a small lead for themselves.
And it's also really difficult for Top Esports to try and punch back. You try and go, hey, we're going to dive bot lane, and you're like, hey, that's a Mordekaiser. That's just not going to end well. Yeah. And you want to try and trade on that top side, but Faker's already pushed in, and you already have Owner on that side of the map. So Top Esports kind of just clear out the waves and do nothing. They are looking for top here. Faker still has flash.
Yeah, Faker gonna drop that shockwave to try to defend himself here as Cream again trying to play as aggressively as possible on this Akali. Last time he had the ulti, he spent it on Faker. This time he does the same. Redemption coming in to try to keep Faker alive. Kanavi has to back away after the redemption, heals the enemy mid laner. Carrier supporting Faker from a long way away, stops the dive.
Top Esports now starting to get a little bit more active on the map, setting their sights onto Faker, but he weathers the pressure well. T1 there to support him when he needs it. Doran now taking over the top wave as he looks to chip away at that top tower.
Exactly, and he's got his Riftmaker online finally. In that head-to-head, he went straight for the tier 2 boots with the plated steel caps at the very beginning, and it meant that he's actually been pretty far behind in terms of that first big item completion, and that's why 369 had all the control that he did in the head-to-head. Now Doran, with that first big item, feeling a lot stronger.
Yeah, the plan from Top Esports continuously has been attack the other solo laner and Faker, but they really want to get that flash out. But every time Faker's just been happy to trade the shockwave, and now coming in towards this next dragon, Faker still has that flash, which makes him not a target for this Kanavi and Cream combo. And it's just been that patience with him on the potential flash that has netted nothing for Top Esports.
Team fight. So who does Doran remove in these fights to turn it into a 4v4 for T1? But now we're back in the action, we're back on the dragon, and given the positioning, Top Esports, it's not easy for them to contest.
Ignore the bottom of your screens. Kanavi does not have his ultimate up and available. It is still a little bit away, which is why Top Esports there didn't really want to try and contest. So it looks like for T1 again, another dragon. Now the feats, they're in a great spot.
And it's exactly what we were talking about back in the draft. Kanavi is the engage. Yes, you get the extra speed, you get the extra lane control when you draft this Karma for the support position, but it means that if Kanavi doesn't have the ultimate, the way into the fight is so much more difficult. But it looks like Top Esports are going to go for some push onto the bot lane tier 1.
Okay, so Top Esports with a little bit of pressure for themselves. But again, we talked about it earlier. See how T1 is doing a great job of protecting Faker. They refuse to leave this Orianna isolated because that is the key target that Top Esports is trying to find momentum off of.
But it's the only target you can really go for, right? Guma just sits in mid waves, shoots down the wave in one go, and is like, all right, well, you're not getting anywhere close to me. Doran is just able to get rid of all of the Avengers apart from one. So for Top Esports, it's really difficult to find plays anywhere on the map. And it's this slow burn now of T1 just starting to collect dragons, keeping the peace, and they're slowly getting to whittle away at some of these turrets as well. So for Top Esports, it needs to be better map play. Getting to the objective first, forcing T1 to actually try and brute force their way in with a lack of vision that opens up these flank opportunities for Kanavi and for Cream.
And Top Esports' map play did earn them those first 3 grubs of the game that we saw back at the start of things, but the 3 neutral objectives since then have gone the way of T1. They have the feat of monster slaying. We're still only 1 kill in 19.5 minutes into the game, so that feat not claimed by either side, but you do see some damage onto the turrets in the side lanes for both squads, so that means also, after we have one of these big fights, it's probably first turret right after.
The funny thing to me is that we're only at 16 petals for the whole game. 14, my mistake. 8 plus, well, now 7 as the Otacon 10 seconds away.
All right, Otacon topside in this one. There's also still the Rift Herald in the inventory of Owner. That could also be used to force down one of these tier 1 turrets if that's the play they want to make. You can see T1, they're not going to start up the Otacon immediately, but they do still have Keria up in this area just to make sure that they're maintaining vision control. He's going to go ahead and take his recall. Again, Faker swaps back into the matchup with Cream. Doran versus 369 just continues being what this top lane battle always is.
If the Otacon is started up, you need to be a little careful. There's a nice ward, actually. Okay, that's a very big circle. In behind the blue buff of T1. And that is something that 369 can look to try and create a flank opportunity for himself. But TP now towards the mid lane, trying to keep this mid tower safe.
Exactly. They summoned up the Herald. That Herald should guarantee that you're going to be able to at least get the first turret. But it looks like summoned up in mid lane, it cannot guarantee that much damage. But they don't just want to give that away for free to Kanavi being able to jump in there onto that tier 1 with the Wukong, with the Trinity Force. So Herald charges, takes off about 2/3 of that turret HP. 2 minutes on our next Drake. Otacon is alive. Turrets, low health, legitimately everywhere. And that bottom lane head-to-head, you saw 369 again winning out in that as he has Jack's Show now fully completed. Still only 1 major item for Doran.
Jackie Love, based on what I can tell, is about 200 to 150 gold off that Infinity Edge that he is working towards. A nice item spike as Cream goes in.
Here we go once more. Faker trying to protect himself from Cream. As the perfect execution, once again, just not enough damage to really pose the threat, and Faker doesn't even have to spend Shockwave on that one.
But now TP could be used by Faker to try and get back in. Actually, Shockwave now used.
There it is, right on top of Keria, who comes in to reinforce the T1 mid laner. The quickness comes out, and the flash forced from Cream.
You still got protection here, though, in the top side. Kanavi having to clone over the wall to make sure that he can try and escape, but T1 putting pressure on this top side, and you've got that TP from Faker to come back out onto this top side with Kanavi on low HP and Akali with no ult. Maybe that's an Otacon area that T1 are looking at.
T1 are controlling this Akali so well. They are giving such few opportunities, and Cream, I think his goal there was simply a chunk. Get a nice trade, make it easier for him to gain control, threaten that top side, but who's there first? It's Keria, it's Owner. The supporting staff of T1 are there to protect their GOAT of the mid lane, and they make sure that they put Cream back in his place. Nice advantage being built for Faker. Top Esports trying to get some vision around Otacon, but T1 is making it very difficult.
It's Doran versus Cream in the bottom lane right now, but the important thing to make note of is that Doran has his teleport available, and Cream still does not have his. The perfect execution is back off of cooldown, but Cream's flash obviously still a long way away here as well. Keria loses half HP to a quick burst from Kanavi, but now Owner's ready to lead the charge here with a Crescent Guard. Kanavi, Jackie Love, and Hong all backing away from this one as T1 gets the better side of the trade.
So Top Esports tried to punish the positioning of Carrier, but it's they who is punished on the other side, and now T1 want to secure the first tower of the game.
They're going to try to put enough damage into this, but again, they don't have any Void Grubs whatsoever, so they can't just force it down with a couple of autos.
They forced Top Esports out of River, though, and Dragon is available, and that was really what they wanted. So now Top Esports going to have to try and break into this, but it looks like it's gone.
Yeah, T1 just going to go ahead and secure themselves Soul Point on a Cloud Soul Rift. Another uncontested neutral objective.
I mean, immaculate control coming through from T1. Top Esports on the other side might be able to secure first tower for themselves, as 369 will be left alone to hit away on this tower. So hey, a feat of warfare contributed. Now the question is, gentlemen, will in this game we reach 3 kills? Because so far, 24 minutes in, we're at, I don't even know what the division is, but I'm telling you the kills per minute is awfully low.
It's not looking particularly hot.
Not great.
Yeah. Whoever got the pickups for Kanavi First Blood, though, at least somewhat happy with things. Maybe not with how this game state is going. As T1, once again, it's just been these little pockets that they're playing off of. Keria getting nearly caught out there in that top side, but they turn around damage from Owner, setting up them for the push. And this is kind of why some of these picks are so strong from the comfort. Like Owner loves playing the Xin Zhao because he knows how hyper aggressive he can go, burning that ultimate just to force Top Esports back. Gumayushi on this Varus has been such a staple for T1, and now en masse they group mid, and 369's overextended.
Yeah, 369 trying to jump in there as the turret falls. Owner, audacious charge right in after him, finds a little bit of damage. Jackie Love also at about 60% HP here. So T1, they get what they came for, and they don't want to stick around for anything more.
And all the while, I want to turn your attention to that man in the middle lane, Faker. The Rod of Ages fully stacked. His Seraphs has been completed, and this man is about to tick over to level 16 on the Orianna as well. The highest level in the game. He is in a prime position to be the carry for T1 here in Game 1. Unless Top Esports no, they're not going to do anything about it right now.
Yeah, and it feels like this game is a bit of a metaphor for how the Top Esports and the LPL has played against them. They keep trying to take them down, but unable to do so. And now Top Esports forcing this Adakan. The TP has come out. They're going to start to slowly back away.
Yeah, they get the summoner spell, but that's all they're going to take for now. Kanavi's the only one continuing to tank the Otacon because they do not want the debuff on everybody else on Top Esports. Doran making his way up through the river. 369 with a third in, Tofo strike primed. Top Esports looking for something here. It's Doran jumped on immediately. However, he's into the death realm. He's going after Kanavi. He wants to take out the enemy jungler. Top Esports, they're trying to get him away. But as soon as the death realm ends, Carrier's quickness begins. And Top Esports have already lost their jungler. They're about to lose their top laner. 369 wants to go all out, but Gumayushi and T1 are all in. Hong trying to escape as Cream's got some fancy acrobatics, but he's not getting anything. T1 out team fight him, and they'll take the Otacon.
Kanavi is given no position, no purchase, as Doran isolates him in the death realm. And after taking out the jungler, taking out 369, T1 will turn their attention towards the Baron.
Bettius, you talked about the value of one fight, and this is the fight they won.
And it's because Doran just rips Kanavi out of existence that makes it so easy. That engage is gone. Jackie Love and Hong can't actually get into the fight because they're zoned by Gumayushi and Faker, and now Faker has caught Cream.
Faker going in after this Akali that's been trying to put the pressure on him all game long. And once more, it's Cream, the one who loses his flash just to survive.
T1 played with great patience, they leveraged their range, and again, this pick from Mordekaiser doing very much as we expected. The question was, would he remove Kanavi or Cream, but that decision was made so simple for him the moment he saw that Wukong try to engage. And Flowers, you highlighted in the fight, to add insult to injury, the second Kanavi comes out of the fight, there's the quickness, charming him up, isolating him to allow for Faker to secure the kill.
You just sit on top of the little Christmas light and press R as soon as it returns to a champion. Well played there from T1, now over 2,000 gold ahead. And my friends, we have 45 seconds left until the Cloud Soul spawns. Hong in some danger here, has to flash away. Carrier ready to go after him again with the quickness, feat of warfare. Finally finally claimed at 27 minutes by T1, and they are just barreling down the bottom lane. Gumayushi gonna get healed up by Redemption, but no! Cream's already got the assassination. He dies in response as Kanavi continues spinning forward, looking for a little bit more. The ricochets from Jackie Love. He needs more, but he can't find it. A double kill to Faker as Owner finishes Jackie, and only 3-6-9 is left. T1 again win the fight with 10 seconds left until the Cloud Soul spawns.
Top Esports threw the Hail Mary, and it was so close to looking good, but intercepted at the last second. And now it's T1 with members on the map that will secure the Cloud Soul, although there's a little bit of a spot here.
Yeah, looks like Hong might have made a mistake, stepping forward to try to help his top laner. Doran brings Hong into the Death Realm instead. You will not be able to catch back up to the Karma to guarantee the kill, but now it's Faker joining up with his top laner for the extra damage into 3-6-9. The Cassante tries to get away, and he outpaces the Claw to do so, but the entire time it was Owner on the Drake. There's your MasterCard priceless moment. 29 minutes into the game, T1 got all 4 Drakes uncontested.
It got a little scary for T1 on the bot side of the map. It felt like that Jackie Love had really woken up in this game, but Kanavi once again isolated. Shockwave!
Shockwave from Faker to burst down the enemy jungler. Kanavi has never found his angles in this game after that first blood. Cream of the Wall wants something. They'll give him a burial. Gumayushi with the kill. 9-3 for T1. Everything Top Esports tried early was completely canceled, and T1 is showing them how to make plays now. 3-6-9, just trying to escape some of the damage. He's the only one alive for a game that had 1 kill at 24 minutes. T1 are about to end it. 30 minutes in. Respawns are not even here. 3-6-9's the only one left, and they want to try to grab the ace on the way out. T1, it was a slow burn, but it's Top Esports being put to the fire. T1 just gonna pad the stats and take game 1.
It's a buy one, get 3 free at the end as they marched in 1 by 1, and Top Esports happy to take them to the slaughter.